How are we going to keep? How long are we going to allow that
Okay,
trauma to be a
hold on. Let
crutch?
me
Are
let
we
me let
going
me
to
Go ahead,
let
keep
me
go
saying
ahead,
answer
go
about
that.
ahead,
it,
go
or are we
ahead,
going to
Yeah.
go
keep
ahead, go ahead,
you?
Well,
Are we going to keep saying we got trauma?
I think. Well, first of
It
all, I
do sound
think.
like an excuse though.
No,
Can't
okay, go
make
Well,
it
ahead,
an
Doc.
no.
excuse.
Let me
Doc.
cook. Let me cook. It is an excuse. It is an excuse. An excuse is really a justifiable reason. It excuses you. Uh, so, um, but the reason I asked the question is because the brother was saying uh, we really shouldn't be with somebody who has that type of mental trauma, right?
Right.
One that's on one hand, and then on the other hand, he would agree that most of us as black people we sort of suffer
Yeah.
from some type of trauma. We That's something that needs to be reconciled there. But to what the other brother talked about was how long, right? That is time is so relative. But how about
How to deal?
how to deal?
Can't help who
Having
you love either.
hold on, let me get this out. How about let's establish a sort of values that we can discuss to help us with our mental anguish,
We
right? How
have that
about
though.
Hold on. I'm sorry.
I'm unaware of it collectively as a like what is that?
What is it?
Therapy.
Therapy.
Yeah, but let me ask you this question: is therapy stigmatized? Is it like a bad label?
No.
Yeah, there is. It's a
Come
bad
on,
label
man.
that's been put in our community. It has been bad for the
It's
product
bad
because
label. So
people say, "Are you going to a shrink?" or "How can
Yeah.
somebody
yeah,
tell me about me?" Well, again, that's another part of that crutch. That's another excuse that you're using, a cop out, in order to not deal with your issues, in order to not deal with your problems.
I think
okay.
that's the
So
So
do
main
you?
thing.
again,
So
how
do
long are
do
we going to use these crutches?
I'm trying to because I don't see them. I disagree with you that it's a crutch, right? I think that we approaching it from a different vantage point, right? So
Okay.
if somebody has an issue, first of all, we looking at things like it's common sense, right? We're looking at things like it's common sense. How in the hell? Let's talk about it. We talking about a woman. How in the hell do we get to say our women? Because I think we all agree on this that our women they kind of are allergic to accountability, right?
For
Will we
sure.
agree? We
Sure.
agree.
Definitely.
Okay,
For sure.
so we would agree that they are allergic to accountability,
Allergic to
and
accountability.
in order to rectify an issue, we have to take accountable of the sickness. We have to have an account of the sickness. So in other
Yeah.
words, if my sickness is addiction, I have to go to that AA meeting and say, my name is Daktari and I am an alcoholic. That I don't it's very hard to do that. I don't it's easier said than done. And for us to just sweep that like under the rug and say, well, that's just an excuse, I just think it's disingenuous, right? I understand the premise, but it's a very nuanced and complicated thing. And it's not like our sickness, it's not like our traumas are from the past, right? Like it's not like they've never stopped since we got here.
Out here. Right.
They are ongoing. They are consistent. They are it's all the time, right? This ain't the Jewish Holocaust
Yeah.
where and I'm not making light of anybody's plight or experiences, right? But that happened back then. That has been dealt with. This, that, and the third, right? I'm not making light of it, but it's been done, right? Since enslaved, I don't want to go through the whole litany of things that I'm sure the people in this discussion are abreast to, but it's still happening, right?
Right.
It's still happening, and it takes the conversations like we're having now for us to deal with this mental anguish and deal with this mental trauma, and not put stigmas on it like we just using them as crutches or they just excuses not to do better. We are sick and we have real issues, and we have institutions and educational systems that reaffirm these issues on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
Let me ask a
I,
question. Let me ask a question. Just give me a second. I want to ask you: have anybody ever, um, have any one of us on here ever been told to do something that we look back now on, or been influenced to do something that we now look back on? and say that was wrong. But we had somebody that was in front of us rooting us on as we did it.
Mhm.
As far as what?
Anything.
Anything bad, anything that was could be criminal behavior, mischievous behavior, devious behavior. Was it something that you look back on now and say, "Damn, that was wrong"? But now, but then at that time, someone was rooting you on as you did it.
I
I
would
mean,
say
I
probably
put.
like, oh, go ahead.
You don't have to
No, you
tell
go
me. You don't
ahead.
have
You
to
go
tell
ahead.
me. It's just this is a closing the
I
question.
think that's
This
like
is
some
yes
Oh
or no.
yeah,
violence.
yeah, yeah.
Yes,
You go
right?
ahead.
Yes,
Right.
yes,
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the thing is, so right
but
now, what we're talking about, give me a minute. So right now, while we're talking about these traumas and people with traumas and behaviors, we right now live in a society that celebrates,
Mm.
congratulates,
Mm.
uplifts foolish and devious behavior.
Mm. Yes.
So
Good point.
if you're going to talk about those things, you have to be sure. Excuse me, my hand was in front of the camera. You have to be sure that the person that you're talking about is traumatized. Know that they have been through trauma. How many times have we known someone that goes to a doctor or maybe yourself and find out that you have something that you had no symptoms of or you didn't even know was there, but you had some pain or something, but you didn't know that's what it was and it was that serious. You see what I'm saying? A lot of time
Mm-hmm.
people don't know that they're sick.
Yeah.
So the thing is, I'll be the first to admit I'm one person who didn't know that I had some of the issues that I had. And I did go to therapy, but it took me a while because it was stigmatized. Because as a
Mm-hmm.
black man, I looked at myself as being strong enough to overcome whatever it was. And I guarantee you, a lot of us on here have dealt with trauma. A lot of us on here have been raised by a woman that or a man that had experienced trauma and they've laid that on you. So
That's right.
being um 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 what's the word? So being prejudiced, I would say, or discriminant
Mm-hmm.
towards someone who's
Yeah.
experienced
It's
trauma
dangerous.
is very, very dangerous. And the thing is, it can come back to bite you. I'm not saying to put up with some things.